Sommer Browning. Sommer Browning. The Sommer Browning who walked all the way to Brooklyn from Denver just to make you laugh. Ladies and gentlemen, Sommer Browning.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell 81 jokes, and I'm going to read them from these papers. And by the end of the night, we'll know why people probably don't read their jokes and they actually memorize them. So, kind of an experiment. Well, let's go. Join me. What just happened in the bathroom can only be described as number 3. My favorite Marx brother is Engels. People always freak out about asparagus pea, but what about cashew nuts? Clay Oldenburg's most unsuccessful sculpture was soft penis. The best thing about living a lie is being a man. Is saying someone's not retarded offensive? If my husband and I ever get an AA, I guess we'll have to go to separate meetings. Quality over quantity, unless the quality is weeping sores and the quantity is 0. My husband always feels left out when my college buddies and I relive our glory hole days. As far as birth control goes, abstinence and suicide are on par. When I'm in desperate need of falafel, I'll use a hippie's dreads like dowsing rods. Giving a bum money and getting a hand job are a lot alike. In both situations, I prefer cunnilingus. I'm not homophobic. I don't care what 2 words that sound the same but have different meanings do in private, but do I have to hear them in public? Homophone joke. I feel bad for the old asshole once the new one is ripped. Also struck their best karaoke song fucking ever. I know Christ is the answer, but what if the question is, Mom, what are we having for dinner? I invented the cow bucket. Human male stands behind human female, genitals to butt in a barn. They begin milking. This can also be done gay. Cops isn't exploitive if you're watching it for inspiration. My arms are sore for attempting to do 12 pull-ups yesterday, and by that I mean attempting to do one 12 times. On some days, it makes sense to throw your meals directly into the toilet and eliminate the middleman. What do you call that patronizing moisture that collects on the outside of your glass? Condescension. What's on my mind? The dura, arachnoid, and pia mater meningeal veins to allow cerebral spinal fluid damage, periosteum, then bone and skin. I just came across a movie rated R for pervasive language. How dare they use language through the whole movie? Whatever they do to pork rinds, I want to do that to brains. This is another pretty bad day today. Brief was the case that they gave me. Snoop Doggy Dogg, Esquire. When I pee, I don't use my fucking vagina. All that talk about syncopated, deconstructed, correlative, collapsible, hegemonic, iambic drift funds was just a misunderstanding. Can't I ever be part of a reign of terror? Barely got my birth control refilled before the pharmacy closed. It was a matter of unwanted life. I'm a normal person with fantasies just like you, namely the one about traveling back in time and renaming eggplant placenta fruit. I might have been loaded when I wrote that one. I'm in a pickle and it's delicious. The family that prays together is wasting their time. Love means sharing the same beliefs. I believe my husband is funny, sexy, and smart, and so does he. I thought phone sex was safe sex until I found out there are more germs on your cell phone than on a homeless man's penis. You can get a lot drunker if you're drunk before you start drinking. You know what sucks about having flaws? I don't. Hey TSA, I'm going to go on a road trip and bring all the moisturizer and knives I want. 18th century gent number 1. I'm afraid my valise is too burdensome for the foyer. 18th century gent number 2. Might that, perchance, be something she uttered? When geese get goosebumps, they explode. These are when you realize the full complexity of adulthood and how mature. Ooh, ice cream truck! Eat, pray, love, die like an asshole anyway. I've got nothing but time. I bet that saying was in reference to beating someone to death with a flip-flop. Eating tofu shaped like meat is like fucking a real doll. I eat as though I am a pregnant ultra-marathoner. True or false? Michael Jackson. Husband, do we have any booze? Wife, we have some peppermint schnapps. Husband, what's that good with? Wife, 14-year-olds. After dinner, I'm going to do what Jesus would do. Eat ice cream and drink whiskey if he were me. At 34, I have more in common with 1,000-year-olds than 20-year-olds. I am this close to showing you how close I am with my fingers. You know what they say, it isn't the size of the font, but the presence of serifs. I would get breast implants just to make my arms look skinnier. If you ever hear anyone say, great minds think alike, I guarantee you are in the presence of at least 2 mediocre minds. Theoretically, at these places, I could get a full body wax and then have them airbrush the hair back on. Unlike the morning after pill, the 16 years later pill is murder. Writing a succinct simile is like using an oven without temperature control in a log cabin under gunpoint by 3 thugs, one of whom is your ex-boyfriend's mother's landlord. That's a hard one. I'm 85% vegan and 15% not very vegan. Cote d'Ivoire, Indonesia, Mali, Kosovo, Armenia, Bahrain, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam. Those are countries that don't extradite, just for your information. Listen, all I can say is every single word I know. No one can express disdain more than an old lady waiting 15 minutes in the wrong line. I think a nicer way to say you're unemployed is to say I no longer masturbate at work. When it comes to hotel rooms, I can smell which ones I can afford. The best part of drinking alone is the beer goggles. Personally, I always allow cookies. I'd heckle you back, but I'm bad with names. Whenever I need cheering up, I picture a scrotum. It never helps. I'm worried because I started to turn off intervention right before the intervention. The question, would you rather be blind or deaf, tells you a lot about people, mainly that they ask very stupid questions. What's the capital of Eritrea? If it was Djibouti, you'd know. Cemeteries are full of has-beens. Getting high as a kite doesn't seem that high to me. Try getting high as that clear banana dragon. You can just say what and they have to laugh. When you're single in your 20s, you get drunk to get laid. In your 30s, you get laid, then get drunk to forget the circumstances under which you got laid. It's hard to believe G.T. Allen and my grandma are the same species. In my mind, if you attempt to pickle a pickle, you trigger a singularity. Back in my college days, I thought getting stoned to death sounded pretty awesome. Sometimes men tell me they want to make my wildest dream come true, and I tell them they couldn't possibly have enough unicorns. If the world lasts long enough, won't everything happen eventually? When I go to strip clubs, I turn into Claude Levi-Strauss. And lastly, I was recently surprised to learn that monkey business is actually very lucrative. Thanks.